Hey, what's up guys? Justin Johnson here, and in this lesson I'm going to be teaching you all about how to use the ring slide right here. That's this baby that I've been using. It allows you to play, with your fingers the way you normally would, like fretting the notes like this. You can play all of the chords that require, all four fingers, bar chords. But then when you want to, you can basically use the ring slide as a slide, like as a finger slide. Get all of those cool like Delta blues inflections, those really vocal inflections that you get. You can really only get that sound from playing with a slide. First of all, you notice when I play finger slide, a traditional like bottleneck slide, I almost always use my ring finger. And a lot of people use their ring finger or they use their pinky. With the ring slide, it's very specific, and I'll explain why, but you want to use your middle finger and you want to use the middle knuckle of your middle finger right here. So like my ring slide here is my signature ring slide. You'll notice it has like a little paddle on the inside and it's spring loaded. So that actually helps it grip your finger. So even if your finger's a little bigger or smaller, it just stays on there without moving. It's really secure. So the reason you want to use your middle finger, and specifically the middle knuckle of your middle finger, is because when you're fretting, that's kind of like the one part of any of your fingers that you don't really ever use. So if you're doing a bar chord, for example, you're going to be using all of this part of your index finger. Or when you're doing like a partial bar, like right here on this C chord, you're using part of this knuckle right here. And you don't want the slide to get in the way of any of the fretting techniques that you might employ while you're playing. Same thing with playing scales or riffs, anything like that. The slide stays out of your way really nicely. All right, so let's start digging into like how you use the ring slide, some basic technique. This is kind of like basic slide guitar technique in general, no matter what kind of slide you're using. But the thing is, when you're fretting notes, like you're pressing your finger down onto the wooden part of the fretboard behind the actual metal fret. And so the string is actually vibrating between the bridge and that metal fret. But when you're playing the slide, you're kind of replacing that fret. So what you're wanting to do is you're wanting the very middle part of that round slide, the very middle part is going to go directly on top of the fret. So not behind the fret like you're used to playing, but on the exact center of that slide is going to be exactly centered on top of that fret. If you're a little bit low, you're going to be a little bit flat. And so that's going to sound out of pitch, So let's say I hit this low E string and I'm going to play the 5th fret on the B string here. But I'm going to play it with the slide. This is a good way to kind of get your ear tuning your slide for you here. Just hit that note and center that slide exactly over that fret. Also, you're pushing down on the string, but you're not pushing all the way until you contact the fret, like you do when you're fretting a note. You're just sliding against the string delicately, but you don't want to push so hard that you're starting to hit the frets. You get this really nasty sound. Also, if you're too light with it, you're going to get a rattle. So just push in just enough to where that rattle goes away, and that you get this nice sounding sustain. And now, when you're kind of positioning your hand, another thing to be aware of is that you don't play like this. A lot of guitar players, especially like blues guitar players, they roll their thumb around the back of the neck. There's nothing wrong with that for certain styles of playing, but with the slide, you're going to want to move that thumb, and basically, I always say it's kind of like you're giving a thumbs up, but you tilt your thumb and then you point that thumb to the headstock. So let me show you from behind. It's like this. And that thumb back there is going to be an anchor so that you can slide and you can control the motion of that slide. Sometimes your thumb's going to be moving up and down the fretboard. Sometimes it's going to be staying in position even when you move between several frets with the slide. But don't start doing this. Don't start bringing your thumb around when you're playing slide. It's going to really throw off your technique. You need the thumb back there to anchor. Another important detail with the ring slide is that, even though you can bend your finger like this, like when you're fretting or, fretting chords, you can bend your finger. You want to keep your finger pretty straight. See that? And you want to make sure this finger, your index finger, is behind the string, behind the slide, muting the strings back there. And this is basically technique you would use anytime you're playing any kind of slide. So like try a riff like that. It's just I like to hit like the open E string to give me that harmony. And then just on the B string, go open and then 3. And try to make that clean. And notice when I'm coming down with the slide, so is that index finger. That's always important. Watch it from the side. Now pluck on the 3rd fret and slide up to the 5th. This little riff might sound simple, especially if you're already comfortable playing guitar. Like this is an easy riff, but you have to understand that when you're first learning slide, there's going to be a little bit of new muscle memory that you're going to have to learn in your left hand. Your right hand is very similar. Your right hand does a lot of the same stuff as you would normally do if you were playing guitar, but you're going to have to learn how to play with that slide. So starting slow and learning how the hand should be positioned and how to mute these strings is really important. And when I do that, when I shake the note a little bit, that's called vibrato. And the way I do that is, again, by anchoring on the back of the neck. I keep my thumb in place. See how my thumb doesn't move? But what I'm moving, it's not my finger, I'm moving my forearm down here, basically. I'm using my thumb as the anchor, my shoulder as the other anchor, and I'm kind of moving it just like, more like my forearm and my elbow. Again, don't move that thumb on the back. You shouldn't be tight back here, but your thumb should just be a nice, confident anchor there. You get this beautiful vocal tone. All right, so let me give you an exercise that you can use to start to develop good muscle memory. I'm gonna go up the high E string with the ring slide, and I'm just gonna do the minor pentatonic scale. This is a really important scale for blues, for rock and roll, for a ton of different styles of music. So it's just open, and then 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret. Open, 3, 5, 7, 10, and then 12. We're gonna do it with the ring slide though. And I'm gonna hit the low E string to give myself that harmony, and I'm gonna go open, 3rd, 5th. I give it a little vibrato just to get used to that. 7th, 10th, 12th. Now try to go through that scale at first very cleanly, almost as if you're just fretting it. What you'll notice a lot of times if you're just starting out on slide is that it might sound a little out of pitch. You hear that? If that happens, then Check your tuning, you know, either with your ear against that low E string, or what helps out a lot is to get a chromatic tuner. Make sure it's a chromatic tuner. Turn it on, and as you're playing, so I'm in tune on the E string. There's my G. Oh, looks like I'm a little sharp. Go back, and you can say, oh, look at that, okay. So what happens is if you're just using your eye and you're visually looking at the fretboard, it might look like your slide is centered perfectly over that fret. But what happens is you're looking at an angle always at the guitar. So as you come up higher, you're looking straight down. It's a little bit easier, but especially on the low frets, it might look like you're a little sharp, but you're actually right on top of the fret. So use your ear, that's the most important thing. But when you're first starting out, stop every now and again and just make sure you're right in tune. There it is. So again, use the tuner. The tuner will help you. Make sure it's a chromatic tuner, because a chromatic tuner will tell you every note, sharps and flats, every note there is. Some guitar tuners, they just tune you to standard tuning, and that's not helpful in this case. All right, so go up and down that scale. Now try to go in between the notes sliding. So hit it on one fret and then slide up to the next. What's also nice about having this finger behind the slide here is that it kind of gives you a feel of where that string is. If your fingers were up like this, it's easy to kind of slide off of the string because you're kind of bending or you're doing this. What happens with practicing moving up and down one string like this is that you get a sense of how to move up and down that string. So eventually you can do it, you know, very seamlessly. Now, once you get comfortable with that string, go to the next string and do the same thing. So I'm gonna stay with the pentatonic scale in the key of E here, and the notes on the B string are gonna be a little bit different. I mean, the frets are. So it'll be open, 3rd, 5th, and then the 8th, 10th, 12th. So there's one difference in that one, the 8th fret. So now I can practice just on the B string. And practice melodies. You know, you can come up with your own melodies this way. Sometimes it's nice, like what I just did there, even though the note's on the 8th fret, I slid up from a half step below. You can almost always slide up from a half step below. It gives you this really cool sound, this bend. You're like sliding into the note. It's very vocal, and that is one of the things that the slide is so good at doing. It's very hard, if not impossible, to do that with the frets. So now you've learned 2 strings. You can do the same thing by learning these scales. You know, again, this scale is the E minor pentatonic scale. That's the one I've been just showing you guys in this lesson. But you can learn that scale on each string, going up and down each string. And it's a great way to get your fingers working correctly and build that good muscle memory with the ring slide. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Also, while you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out more about my ring slides, my signature ring slides, or pick one up, then you can do that at justinjohnsonstore.com. Keep rocking.